Alright, hey guys. So my name is Frank Simo. I'm actually the one managing, hosting, doing all the work on the Christ Family podcast page. So I wanted to come here today to really just introduce myself, speak a little bit about myself and the testimony, how basically God changed my life, and also how that page came about. And I feel in my spirit to do this because I think it's fair to for you guys to know what's behind this page and not just like not just like part like being there and then you don't know what's behind it. So that's why I felt in my spirit just to introduce myself, but also to bring glory to the Lord's name because you know um all of this is Him. Like, it is insane. So, but I'm gonna start by really kind of introducing myself, sharing my testimony, and I will also explain how this page came about because all of that is all of that is part of the story of the testimony, I guess. So anyway, so once again, Frank, I am originally from Cameroon, so that is in West Africa. I was born there, Yaoundé. So that's the capital. That's where I was born. I grew up in Douala. Douala is the economic capital of Cameroon. So I grew up there, and I and if I want to go through my lineage, but anyway, so my I don't even do this. So my biological dad and mom. So basically, they were living in Yaoundé. Yaoundé is the capital, so that's where I was born. But there was turmoil in her marriage, so they ended up divorcing in a way. So then the divorce was really different. So she basically fled. My mom fled. There was turmoil. There was a lot of because in Africa, this family sometimes if you're the the lady, you come into a family, you're married to that family. Sometimes there's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of family. How do I say this? There's a lot of bullying. I think that's the word, bullying, going on. So she fell a victim of a lot of that with my aunties and grandma from the paternal side. So she felt the need to just leave because there was a lot of abuse going on, from what I was told. So anyway, she fled. Essentially, she fled, and she had to hide me. She had to hide me. So she hid me with one of her friend from childhood, and that's the person that raised me, until I came to the United States. I don't know how old I was. I was very young, probably like 3 years old. I'm not sure, but I stayed there with my adoptive mom until I was 17. And the interesting thing about that is that the Lord was actually working on me, working in my life, at that tender and young age because I was born with I was very sick. I was very sick child, and there was a point of my life that I almost died as a young child. So, and there's a part of my on my left side that's actually paralyzed, and there's a lot that happened, when I was young. But basically, the enemy was coming after me from at that young age, and I'm saying this now because like when I look back at my life and I'm seeing the things that happen, for all of this happening not to happen, and when I say all of this, it's like all of the work that you're seeing being done through this page, for it not to happen. But anyway, so what else? So anyway, so she managed to leave that marriage. She managed to hide me with her childhood friend. So I was there with that woman, my my adoptive mom. I was there with her. My entire, basically like half of my life, I lived with her. She raised me. She took care of me. And the interesting thing about that is that my biological father, his last name was the last name that I carry. His last name is Simo, Simo, which is strange, but nothing is random with the Lord. And the thing is that like this man was a blessing to me. He was a blessing in the sense that he he had a difficult life in the sense that he I think he was bewitched, or he was cursed. There was something that happened in his life that he was cursed, but the Lord actually delivered him. The Lord delivered him, and what I'm trying to say is that basically he there was a time in his life that I think he messed with witchcraft, from what I heard. So he messed with witchcraft, and then he was sent a curse, and that curse basically made him lose his mind. So he was kind of like one of those homelesses that walk around like out there, like basically like almost half naked, like not basically, just like crazy, so he was always hanging around like in a specific area in Douala. Douala is like where I grew up. He was always hanging out there, and what ended up happening is that there was a small church in that area, and then they kept on seeing him hanging around there. So they invited him to come in, and they pray for him. And as they pray for him, the Lord, essentially used those people from that church to deliver him. So that's how he had given his life to Christ from that deliverance. And his last name again was Simo. That's my biological father. And that's my adoptive father. I'm sorry, my biological father also carried the same name. So, and I just happened to be raised by this man, and I actually came into his home through his wife. It wasn't really like through him. It was through his wife, because my biological mom had a relationship with my adoptive mom. So she had to hide me from my biological father. So she chose to she basically, that was the safest place for me to be. So she chose to basically give me to that woman, and that woman, like I said, her husband was a Christian, and the Lord had worked in his life and delivered him. And I believe that was before I walked into that home. So that was before I went into that home. So now the thing is that like he had not shared that experience with us as his children, because I wasn't at home. He was a man that had difficulty having children for the longest time, but through the deliverance that he went through, a few years came by, and then later on he started having children. But basically he loved children because he always wanted children. So that's why he was open to adopting children. So I went through that home. Many people, he adopted many children, and I was one of them. And that was a good man. He passed away. That's what I'm saying he passed away, but he was a good man. And I think that all of that came from the fact that God had his hand in that home through him, because he was obedient. The one thing that when I look back, I regret he did not do was to share his experience with us, because I feel like if he had shared it, maybe I would have come to know the Lord sooner. But the time of the Lord is the best, is always the best. So anyway, so in that home, I was pretty well. My mom, my biological mom, she managed to leave Cameroon. She went overseas. She went to different countries, and she managed to come to the United States. And she had been there for many years. Now she was working hard. She was working, and then she was taking care of me and my other brothers, from here, from the U.S. So so yeah, so that's basically how like that household was being managed. Like my adoptive dad also had a job, so he wasn't like unemployed. He had a job. He had a good job actually. Yeah, but my mom also was contributing too from here, from the U.S. So anyway, so in that home, one thing, the way that God manifested himself to me, like when I was living in that home, is that he on Christmas Day, and even Christmas Eve, because back in Africa is a big deal. Like we celebrate Christmas, it's a big deal. We celebrate New Year's Eve, like it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. Like people dress up very, very nice, and then like there's a lot of food, and we eat, and there's just a lot that goes on in Africa when it comes to New Year's Eve, or Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day. So anyway, but one thing, the way that the Lord introduced Himself to me was through um, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the movie. So it is tradition. I don't know if it's still the same thing today because I haven't lived there in a long time in Cameroon. But um, in Cameroon, essentially, when I was there, like it was tradition for family to gather on Christmas Day to watch the Passion of Christ or to watch Jesus Christ of Nazareth, like the movie. So that's how I was introduced to Jesus. Like, so we would watch it, and I would just see like this man like being like he was such a good man. He was such a humble man. He was giving. He was healing. He was smart and basically telling people to be righteous, to do the right thing. To treat their neighbor like in a good way. So like as a young kid, I was fascinated. I was like like I want to be like Jesus. I want to be like him. So that's kind of like how I was introduced to the Lord. But when you're young and also if like there's no spiritual guidance in your household, you will get lost. And that's one thing that when I look back, I'm a little bit like, why didn't they tell me more about Jesus? But like I said, God's timing is the best. But and then like my biological father, no, my adopted father, he he tried in the sense that like he will encourage us to go to church, but at some point he stopped. He basically like asked us if you still wanted to go. We said no, and then he just stopped. He just like he didn't force it on us. um yeah. But anyway, so I managed to go to school. I managed to get the local, like we have like different exams, stuff like that. So I managed to do that. So I left Cameroon when I was 17. I moved to the US. I moved to Northern Virginia, specifically Reston. So that's the city where when I moved to the US, I resided. My biological mom, because she had been here for many years. So when I arrived to Virginia, so I was there. I did my high school here there. Um, Now my biological mom, she is not really like she was not, and it's up to this day now she's more open to the Lord, but she wasn't really with the Lord. Um, and and yeah, it was also kind of hard to live under a roof. There was a lot of spiritual attack. Now that I look at it, it was spiritual attack. So there was a lot of turmoil as well in that household. And when I was living there, like I just wanted to move out. So once I finished high school, I basically kind of fled. I mean, I got accepted in college in West Virginia. It's called the university is called Wheeling Jesuit University. So I got accepted to that university, and I just kind of like went there. It was actually it is in West Virginia. So because I didn't want to be anywhere close to Virginia, because it was just too much for mom. So I went to college. I didn't, and I had abandoned God. Like when I say abandoned, like I didn't even know Him because no one really taught me anything about the Lord. And the one time that I was really introduced to Him was when I would watch, Jesus Christ of Nazareth on Christmas Day when I was in Cameroon. But like I didn't really know Him. I will hear about God. I hear about Jesus, but I didn't really know Him. And sometimes in my life too, I will feel like a nudge about reading the Bible, and I will read it, but but I will never like finish it. Like, well, I will start right, but I will never keep reading. So, but then that has always been like this with like a lot of articles or a lot of readings. Unless I have to read it, I'm not gonna finish it. So you see a lot of books out there. So these are the books that I was mandated to read, so I had to read them. But I'm not a reader, and I've never been a reader. Right now I am. I love the Word of God, and I do my best to read it, as much as possible, almost every day. But anyway, just to get back to the story. So I came to the US. I live with my mom. Turmoil at home. I managed to finish my high school years there. I got a bunch of scholarships, to be able to attend Wheeling Jesuit University. So I moved there. It was in 2012. So I did my college years there. I managed to come out of there with like a bachelor in international studies and a master in business administration. But during those college years, I think the devil really like had a grip on me, and I'm learning now like college is really like the playground of the devil. That's really where like he messes people's life, but and I think that's where the grip of the devil was in my life when I was in college. So what ended up happening in college that I found a skill, like a skill that I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. So what happened is that I would always mess with music. I like hip hop, I like trap, I like all kind of music, country, pop music, dance hall, all that stuff, Afrobeat. So I was really into that. So I bought a DJ mixer. I kept training kind of DJ mixer, and I was staying in my dorm, and I was always like mixing it. And what ended up happening is that like one of my close friends from college, he was in charge of the student activities in a sense. So he would hear me play music. I was also a big partier. And I love partying because I didn't really get to. I feel like I didn't really get to enjoy my youth. So like once I got into college, it was green light. So essentially I party so much. I will always have like people in my dorm. The dorm will be limited to like 8 people. I will have 40, and I would be the best at hosting parties. So what happened is that, like, and I'll have my turntable. I'll mix it, people will come drinking, dancing, crazy stuff. So we'll just get down like that. And my friend who was in charge of the school activities, he was like, hey, like, I like the way you play music. I think you should be our DJ for the school dances. And I was like, okay, go on. Like, so the first night, I got booked to do it, and I went there and I DJ. It was like people just loved it. Just loved it. So that's how I got introduced to that world. The world of partying. I mean, I was already partying, but it just like kind of like got you another level. So the world of partying, the world of being popular, the world of making money from it, the world of just drinking abundantly, the world of fornication. So anyway, so what happened is that like I started hosting. The school basically will pay me to do school dances, and I will do it. And I started getting traction in that little city, and even the local bar will have me DJ there and stuff like that. And when you DJ, it's like you you get to play all that demonic music, but also you're fed alcohol, and like I said, there's the woman, there's the lust, there's all that stuff that come with it. So now the thing is that I actually wanted to become a diplomat. That was what I was really going for. I wanted to work for NGO, like non-governmental, programs, stuff like that. So that's where my mind was. But I did some network with politicians, with like, people from the UN, stuff like that. But or even like the Peace Corps. But I just ended up saying like that's not for me. Like I want to do something that I'm in control of my own destiny. So and somehow I managed to, after college, I wanted to go for my master in entrepreneurship, like business administration, MBA. I was like, it's probably best if I go in that field of business, because it's a field that it is broad. You can use it for many things, So I went into that field of study. I came out of it. I graduated. Now, as I was going through the course, I basically was trying to figure out how I can use that skill set of DJing, and kind of customize it with whatever, with my degree. So and that's how I was able to transform that skill into a business. So what happened is that I finished college. I moved to the city of Pittsburgh, That's where I live now. I moved here, and basically, with the knowledge that I had, I opened a business in Pittsburgh. And the business was really about like showbiz, about DJing. And it was not like small thing. It was something that like, so we're talking about like having contract with like bars and clubs, even schools, you know. So that was one aspect of it. The other aspect of it was that I would do private events. So we're talking about weddings, we're talking about like, you know, baby shower, we're talking about, you know, private like birthday parties, stuff like that. So that was another aspect of it. And then there was two other aspect of it. So the second aspect of it was that I will rent out equipments. So let's say if someone cannot afford a DJ, I will actually rent out my equipments. You know, like the speakers, the party lights, stuff like that. And then also there was an event photography aspect of it as well. So, and as the business grew, I started expanding with like doing showcases. Showcase basically like, this is when you partner with local artists. You know, you set up like an event and you invite them to come perform, and you charge like a entrance fee. So that's how you make your money, or you can even make your money from alcohol sales. So that's how, you know, I was progressing in that field. And also I even started expanding and trying to go international. So the one thing that I managed to accomplish, you know, before the Lord, you know, basically told me to get out of it, was I started doing an event in Paris. It was one of many events that were to come. So I invested a lot of money into hosting a big event in Paris, and that event was something called like 4th of July in Paris. So it was an event that was going to be promoting the American culture, that Independence Day, but do it in another country and kind of promote that culture and be able to monetize from it, you know. So anyway, so that's where things were going, you know, with that field. And like I said, like, we're talking about the lust, we're talking about, you know, fornicating, we're talking about being popular, you know, I mean, we're talking about like alcohol, all that stuff. And that was my life, you know, and I was also making good money from it, you know. So that's what I managed to do for many years. And then I now YouTube, I will go on YouTube to you know, download music, you know, for my playlist. So because when you're a DJ, you need song, and you need to also be able to customize and organize your song, you know, based on different event, based on different, you know, it's just the whole thing. Like, you need folders to organize your music, stuff like that. So I will always go on YouTube to check out like what are the new hit songs, and download from there. um I I'm I'm not sure exactly what I was doing, but I started seeing things on my feed, my YouTube feed, that would show up. So there was a lot of things about like, you know, kind of like channels about gossips about how like celebrities are into the occult, stuff like that. You know, I always heard stuff like that, but I wasn't sure. I didn't really know what it was about. So I started listening to those things, you know. And then like a testimony that just transformed my life. It just changed everything. It just shifted everything. So this testimony came across, and the testimony was for Mr. Father James Kowala. I believe he's from Uganda. So I watched that testimony, and this testimony was a man that basically from the womb, essentially, he was already consecrated to the devil, and he was talking about how he did a lot of like spiritual damages in his country. He destroyed a lot of lives spiritually. He worked with the devil, and he just did so much damages. And then he was talking about how the Lord basically showed up himself. Jesus Christ showed up and saved him, you know, and delivered him from a lot of demons. Is a testimony that I highly recommend for people to check out, to watch, and I will see if I can find the link and attach it to this message. I won't be able to really like elaborate and explain in a way that like it's best for you to just go and see. But that was the testimony that opened my eye. And when I was watching this testimony, there was just so much stuff that I had no idea about that I learned from that testimony. There was a lot. There was a lot of things about the spiritual realm that I had no idea was real. There was a lot of things about false prophet, things that go on in the church, things that go on in even the Catholic Church, uh, and I was just shocked because I had never heard crazy stuff like that. And also he also, I believe that he also touched on, you know, the showbiz, the elites, all that stuff, like how all of that is intertwined with the occult. And so that just um that just shocked me because I had never like I had never come across a came I've never came across a Christian testimony and actually sat and watched the whole thing. So that was the first time, and that happened. I was 33, 33 years old, and I was shocked. So that's where the Lord, like started really like getting my attention. So when I started watching it, there was a big seed of like, okay, this this is real. Like, how the heck have I not learned about this? How the heck don't I know anything about this? This is insane. So I came across another lady. Her name is Erica Mukisa. If you notice on that page, I post a lot of stuff about her. Also, I came across her, and similar situation. Basically, she was consecrated. She was very young. Her grandma is the one that had initiated her into the occult, and I believe her lineage was made up of a lot of people when I were in the occult. And so Mrs. Erica Mukisa, I believe she's also from that same country, from Uganda, I believe. And she was also talking about how that world works, how the spiritual realm works, how like devil agent operate, what they do, like how agent of darkness, basically they come into bars, they sleep with people, they steal their destiny, like crazy stuff like that. I'm just like, wait, what the heck is happening, but yeah, so that's how like my eyes was awakened from this, and I was like, I just couldn't believe it. So I watched Erica, and then she was sharing her testimony, and she shared how the Lord delivered her. She shared how basically, because the way she was I mean, there was many initiation in her situation. There was the grandma, but also there was also like an artist, that had also initiated her. And the nice thing about Erica is that, like, she go into depth, and she explained how these things work, and she makes you see how those artists, those A-list artists, basically you just understand where the wealth is coming, where the power, where the fame comes. Like, the way she explains it, everything comes together, it makes sense. So yeah, I listened to her. I listened to her husband, Bamboo as well. He had something similar, like similar scenario. His testimony was a little bit different, but he was more like like an artist, or like a rapper. He came from Africa. I believe he was in the U.S. He networked with people like Dr. Dre, all those people from Hollywood, and he was basically trying to get into the industry, but he was told that he had to do some ritual. He had to basically get involved into the occult, into witchcraft. And I mean, he kind of tried, but I believe that he got scared, and he just like ended up just like giving up on that. So yeah, and you see the pattern. I just kept seeing that pattern of like witchcraft or cult, and also seeing it being linked to the artists that I was promoting when I was doing my DJ businesses. So that's how the Lord was working on me, kind of opening my eye, unpeeling all that, unpeeling, all the, like, removing that veil, like little by little, removing that veil. So I came across another testimony from this gentleman from the Congo. His name is Mr. Jonas Lukumpumpala. And so this one was in French, because I speak French, so I came across it too. Another one that, like, I was like, what the heck is going on in this world? Like, basically same thing. He was also initiated as a child. He was a devil agent. He destroyed a lot of life. he basically goes in details how, false prophet, how the church, especially the Catholic Church, the Jewish Kabbalah, all those secret societies, like how they operate, and he mixed it up. He shared how, like, he had help, professional athlete. He had help, like, A-list artists to be able to get where they are, like, into witchcraft, and just like the other ones, he was delivered by the Lord Jesus Christ. And I was just like shocked. I was shocked that, like, wow, this is real life. And the thing that I came to understand is that, uh this two realm, there's a physical realm, there's a spiritual realm. I had no idea for 33 years of my life. I had no idea that there was a spiritual realm. I didn't know. I would hear spiritual things. People would talk about, like, oh, like, this person is a witch, or this person went to consult with a witch, but I didn't know what the heck, like, that intel. I didn't know what it was. But through those testimony, obviously it wasn't limited to just for individual. I started watching more testimonies and more and more and more. And that's how I ended up giving my life to the Lord, through testimonies. Excuse me. He wasn't an evangelist. He wasn't, how do I say this? It was not an evangelist. It wasn't a church. It wasn't no man that delivered me. It wasn't even my own family members. None. It was the Lord Jesus Christ. He led me to those testimony, and that's how I was able to get saved. That's how the Lord saved me. And I'm just grateful. I'm extremely grateful, because, like, man, like, there's so many people out there that are lost, so many, and I was one of them. So to realize that, like, if I had died, if I had died at any point for those 33 years, essentially, I would have ended up in hell. And that just, like, so it just shocked me how, like, for that much time I had no idea that the way that I was living my life was sinful. I was, because when you're in the world, you think that, like, well, like, if I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not, like, why would God be mad at me? Because I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not stealing from anyone, I'm not doing anything to anyone. But then when you come to God and you actually read the Word and you watch those testimonies, you see all those spiritual experiences, you come to realize that, like, bro, if you don't know God, you're doomed. And once you know God, you're doomed. If you're not, you have to know God. You have to read the Word. You have to, build that personal relationship with God. Otherwise you're doomed. And I just had no idea for 33 years of my life, and coming to the Lord, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. So what ended up happening is that I quit my DJ. I just shut it down, everything that I was doing. I shut it down, automatically. I was a porn consumer almost daily, and it got shut down. As I'm like, because when you learn things about the spiritual realm and the Lord, and what I love about the way that the Lord introduced me to all this stuff, he made it clear to me that, like, hey, Frank, it's not just physical realm that you're there's also spiritual realm that exists. There's things called demons are real. I am real. The devil is real. Fallen angels are your enemy. There's principalities out there. There's evil spirit trying to impact your thinking, stuff like that, trying to, like, cause you to get upset, to get anger, to get violent, stuff like that. So he laid it all down for me. He also made it clear that, like, if I'm not obedient, if I'm not, abiding in him, if I'm not doing his will, I can go to hell. And he showed it to me by sharing all those testimony of people that have been to heaven or to hell. He also made it understand to me, he made it clear to me too that, like, as you abide in me, as you live for me, I will bless you here on earth, but also, you're building your castle in my kingdom in heaven. So I need you to be obedient, do my will, evangelize, so yeah, so he showed me that aspect of it too. He also showed me the aspect of false prophet. And I think that was the most shocking of it all. Like, when you're in the world, you're so naive. I mean, things happen, like, I've heard stuff in the reporting in the news about, like, the Catholic Church, how, the priests molest, boys, stuff like that. Like, you hear that, but, but then he really made it clear to me that, like, the church, most churches are dirty. There are people in the church that are just out there for money, that are just out there for, they want to prosper. You know, they're not there for me, they're there for themselves. And there's many people that are sitting in those churches that are being deceived. And also some of them are intentionally being deceived because they're choosing to idolize the man of God instead of seeking God. So he made it clear to me that, like, you're coming to me now, and you're gonna have to be careful where you're going. You're gonna have to be careful how you conduct yourself. You're gonna have to be careful. And like I said, I think this was the most shocking, to realize that, like, men or women of God are actually some of the most dangerous people in the world. And I actually think they're the most dangerous, the fake one, the false prophet. Because these people, they're not just here to destroy your physical life, they're also here to destroy your spiritual life. And spiritual life is what matters. I mean, imagine someone just stealing your destiny, stealing your virtues, like, like basically consecrating you to the devil without you even knowing. And so yeah, like, he just opened my eyes to that, and I was shocked. I was shocked that, like, well, people actually use, even as an unbeliever, there's some things you just don't play with. Like, when you hear God, like, how do you go to church and you steal from people and you sin in the church? Like, just things like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I guess some people are doing it, and I guess it's a thing. So I was shocked, but also I was grateful because, because when you come to Christ, you're excited. You want to go to church. It's like, no, you have to be careful where you're going, like, because most churches are not of God. Most churches are not of God, and he made it clear to me. And now I'm going to go into how this account came about. So I gave my life in 2024. I believe it was around, like, August. Wait, hold on. Actually, it was slightly before, but I think I fully gave my life to Christ around August 2024. So basically, throughout, as I was transitioning from the world uh, into becoming a disciple of Jesus. I don't want to use Christianity. I don't like that. I'm a believer of Jesus Christ, and I'm his disciple. So as I was really coming into the family of Jesus, right? I basically, I will watch those testimonies, because that's what actually built my faith. All those testimony, what is about heaven, about hell, about those spiritual experiences that people are having. So the thing that I will do, like, I will go in my notes in my phone, and I go in my note, and I will, like, collect all those links, and I will just, like, organize it, like, collect it. So I did that for probably, like, 7-8 months, and I would just organize it and collect, and just, like, organize it in my notes. And I probably had probably, like, at least, like, 300 links that I had, like, organized in my notes. And in my mind, I would just organize it, because I was like, maybe down the road, like, what is for family members or for friends, if, like, this, if I want to be able to go in that resource note and be able to, like, if there's something about hell, so be able to get a link and then send it to whoever wants to know anything about hell or anything about heaven. Go to the section and copy the link about stuff about heaven, or stuff about the occult, or stuff about vanity. It's just, so everything was organized, and it was just something innocent that I was doing, right, for that long. So I will organize it, and then, like, now what also happened is that since I was a DJ and I had that business, I had invested like, a lot of time into building the platform. It's called Christ Family Podcast today, but it was called DTE Services PGH. So that was the name of my business. So that was the page. So there was a rental page, there was a photography page, there was the DJ page for the DJ service. So the one right now, Christ Family Podcast, the official one, so that was for the DJ page. So that one had I believe it was nearly 3,000 followers on there, and it had taken me probably like 5 years to build that platform for my DJ business. So what ended up happening is that like I will because just to hear that like a lot of a lot of souls are going to hell, to hear that there was a God that was always after, that was always protecting me, always loving me, and I didn't even know him, I didn't even know anything about him. So when I come to the Lord, like I had so much regret of how I live my life, and it's just like sense of sorrow and sense of like sadness, like wow, like there was a God this whole time. He had been protecting me, he had been you know saving me from a lot of messed up things. I mean, there was time that I could have died like in accidents, and the Lord saved me, just come to realize that you're like wow, like I owe God, I owe him everything, so what I decided to do, I decided to transform those platforms that I had built for my business, to transform it into like a ministry. To me, I was looking at it more like, you know, the people that are following these pages, these are the people that were going to my parties, they're getting drunk with me, paying to come to my events. And I was looking at it like, you know what, Father, like these are the people that I misled, and I want to like make up to you. And the way I'm gonna make it up to you is that, oh Father, I basically will go to, oh man, I'll go online on those like Christian platform, and uh, I will download the reels. So I will download the reels, anything that talks about Jesus, that talks about his goodness, or things I want about hell. So I will download it and I'll upload it to those platforms. Right. Um, I will upload it to those platforms, and I will post it on there, because like I said, I wanted to make it up to Jesus, right? So I will do it, and because in my mind it's like I need to help my friends. They don't know this. Like none of them know anything about this. So I will basically like post it in a because I wanted to plan to see, like I don't know, I just knew it was gonna make a difference somewhere somehow. So that's what I started doing. Even on my personal page, I did the same thing. Anything like my LinkedIn page, Snapchat, everything that I knew that I had followers on there, I'll just post. There was a lot of persecution. People unfollowing me. People messaging me like, "Why are you posting this?" Like stuff like that. But I knew that persecution was gonna come with all that stuff. But I did it for a while. I did it maybe 3 months, I don't know, but that's what I was doing for a while. And then what ended up happening, and this is the Lord. This is not me. What ended up happening is that the Lord reminded me of those links that I had collected for that many time that I'd been collecting them, and he basically put it in my heart to go back and re-listen to those messages, to those testimonies, capture the like parts of those testimonies that are edifying, edit them, because I was really good at making reels, especially when I was doing my business, my DJ stuff for promotion. I was really good at it. So basically, he put it in my heart to go back at all those files, all those links that I organized. Go back there, re-listen to those links, edit them, and then post them. So I started doing it, and I started posting it, and then it just started going viral, like out of nowhere. And I was like, what the heck is going on? It just started going viral. Like, I'm not a professional when it comes to building platforms. I have an idea that how those are done, but like, I had a business and I relied on platforms to be able to get customers to come to my events and stuff like that. But like, this is different. Like, I don't know, all these people just started coming from everywhere, like just everywhere, saving, commenting, asking for the link, stuff like that. I was like, what the heck is happening? But I knew it was coming from God, but like it was just so insane, like the amount of how just like so many people just like started following that page, and it was insane. But but also it was an answer to a prayer that I did to God, and that prayer was that like, Father, I want to help you. And when I say help you, it's God. cannot really help God, but I was just more like, Father, I want to do something for you. I want to help my brothers and sisters. Like, this is it. If I didn't know this for 33 years, and I know people that don't know this, that means so many people don't know this. That means so many people are going to hell, Father, and I want to help you. Like, please, like, show me some way that I can help you. And I want to help. I want to help the kingdom of heaven. I want to expose the kingdom of darkness. Like, I want to help, you know. And and when it comes to the Lord, you're very deficient. You don't know anything about the Bible. You don't know it. Like, it's like a whole new world. You have to learn terminologies. You have to learn. It's like a whole way of living. Like, it's crazy. So, but you know, one thing I knew is like, I'm with Jesus. I don't care when it's gonna come. I don't care. You know, like I said, the DJ career thing. I was like, I don't care. Like, I can't be promoting. I can't be knowingly, you know, going to, like, inviting people to come to events and playing music that I know is filled with demons, and people are consuming it. Like, it's just, I can't be part of an environment where, like, there's a lot of lust, there's a lot of drinking of alcohol, which is another, like, portals for demonic oppression. You know, there's a lot of fornication that goes on afterwards. Even during events, there's a lot of pride. I mean, you see people, like, the way they dress very provocatively, all that stuff is also, it's just so demonic. And there was no way I was going to go back to that. And there's one thing I want to make clear to the people who are DJs. Like, first of all, you have to seek God. Like, this world is temporary. You're going to die sooner or later. That's one thing we're all guaranteed. We're going to die, right? And you don't know where you're going, you know, and you don't want to die and then you go before God and God is like, what did you do with your life? You're like, I DJ. Don't even say it, because if you say it, he's gonna just, like, send you so fast to that pit of hell so fast. Because what you're doing right now, I was doing it, and I'm not trying to be righteous or anything. I'm just sharing what the Lord has shared with me. When you're DJing is like, it's like, the club is like a church for the devil, essentially. You, the DJ, you are at the altar. You know, you are at the altar. You're there with your turntable. You have the lights. You have, you know, there's a congregation. The party attendees, that's your congregation. They're there. They're dancing. They're lusting after one another. They're drinking alcohol. The spirit of pride being manifest. You know, sometimes there's anger that happen. You know, we see that all the time. You know, they're just all that demonic stuff. It's just such a demonic environment, you know, and you are basically the leader. You're leading the ship. You're the one up there with your turntable playing the music, having fun. You know, it's all about me, self, you know, all about fun. And that word, like, I think is one of the most demonic thing, like, going on in this world. And that's what DJs, that's what you're doing. You're basically, like, leading a service for the devil. That's what you're doing. And I wish, like, God can open your spiritual eyes, you know, for you to see what is actually happening in the spiritual realm, in those bars or especially like the DJ, like, you know, the clubs. Like, if God could open your eyes to see the amount of demons in there, you know, like all the demon of pride, the demon of vanity, the demon of alcohol, you know, the demon of violence, the demon of anger, like, they're all in there, and you're leading the masses. And that's what I was doing, and that's what you all are doing. And I don't know, someone needs to tell you, because I mean, there's some DJ that, like, they DJ at their whole, like, a whole stadium. I mean, imagine what you're doing. But that's what you're doing. That's what I was doing. I mean, I didn't get to that level, thank God. And thank God that he didn't allow me to get big in that field, because, man, like, because I'm someone that, like, I don't like to learn that I hurt someone. It just breaks me. And that's where that passion to serve you guys, to post those things that you see me posting, to go as far as even, like, sending you, like, the link, because I want you to, I don't want you to just look at the clip that I made. I also want you to watch it, because I know there's power when you watch, like, a testimony. There's power, because that's God that made that person that is God speaking to you through that person, and I know there's power behind it. That's how I was changed. That's how I was edified. That's how God saved me, and that's why I go above and beyond, because that's one thing God put in me. He taught me to love in a way that like I go above and beyond, and that's why it's for me. It's not about building a platform. It's not about all those people. I never asked for this, in the sense of like I didn't know it was going to be this big. Now I'm in a situation like where I just have to manage it. But for me, originally this was just for the people that I had led astray. I was posting those things for them, and you guys came out of nowhere. But then the thing is that I also prayed to God, and I told him, like, Father, I want to help. I want to save as many souls as possible for you. I wanted to help you. I want you to use me to save as many souls as possible for you. And I believe that's where it came from. So in a way I asked for it, but also I didn't ask for it. So what I'm trying to say is, like, this is not about me building a platform, you trying to get attention. I mean, even doing this, I just feel in my heart that like I need to be transparent with who I am and like what is behind it. So that's why I'm doing this. I don't need no attention. I don't care about none of that. I just don't care. Like I care about souls being saved. I care about honoring and praising and giving glory to God. I care also about exposing those things that are not taught in the church, about hell, about the spiritual realm. I mean, can you imagine on 2026, most people don't know what happened when they die. And I'm saying, because I too didn't know. Everyone should know that, like, when you drop dead, your spirit comes out of your body. Your spirit being come out of, like, that should be spiritual, like Christianity 101. And it's crazy. I think it's crazy that most people have no clue, and that's crazy. And that's why you see me posting those things. I post things that are uncomfortable. I post things that make people happy. It don't matter. Like, people need to know the truth. And the Lord said, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Hosea 4:6, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I'm in a place with the Lord where I'm just asking the Lord every day, Father, Lord, show me what I don't know. Because I know there's so much I don't know. Our enemy is 6,000 years old. Lucifer, Satan, 6,000 years old. He has been deceiving like generation that came before us. Generation so we're in a situation where like we don't even know what we don't know. Like the unpeeling, like we have been so, wrapped into deception, like deception after deception after deception, and we need to unpeel that stuff. So the fact that, like, some Christians, they don't even believe in hell. In hell. How are you a Christian, you don't believe in hell? How are you a Christian, you don't even know that demons exist, right? How are you a Christian, you have no idea that you have a spiritual body? Like, how? Like, it's just crazy, but that's what I'm finding out, that like a lot of Christians don't know a lot. But then also the Lord is communicating with me that many of the people that he has anointed to do his work are not doing his work, are scared, are coward. They don't want to tell the whole gospel. They don't want to share the whole gospel. And some of them even end up joining the devil, and they start using the church for profit, and it is just insane. But yeah, so that's how this page came about. And yeah, that's really my story. So moving forward, I'm a very busy person, and I don't even know how. If you guys know how I manage to even monitor this account and do the things that I'm doing, you're gonna be like, this is insane, but this is all for the glory of God. Like, I love him. I know him now. I didn't know him. I know him now, and many souls needs to be saved, and this is the least that I can do. There's much more that I'm doing on the side, but yeah, like, and guys, like, this life, if you believe in God, that means you believe in the Bible. If you believe in the Bible, that means you believe that we're here for a short time. 50 years, 60 years, 80 years, 70 years, most of us will be like, we will not be here. all we have to do is to be obedient. All we have to do is to put our faith in God. All we have to do is just, is to endure until the end, right? And because like I was super entrepreneurial. I always have things that I wanted to do for my life and stuff like that. And I'm at a point where like all I desire to do is to work for the Lord, is to do anything that advance the kingdom of heaven. That's my desire, and because He's doing so much for us. I mean, when you see those testimonies, you hear about like the war going on in the second heaven. I mean, can you imagine? Like, there's a whole army that's out there fighting for us, that Jesus is leading to fight for us. Like, it is insane. He's doing too much for us, and a lot of us, like, we're not obedient. He commands us, like, go out there, make disciple, share my gospel. Like, and most of us are not really doing it, or we're doing it but not really, and it just pains me. Like, and there are so many souls out there that needs to be saved, and all we have to do, I believe, basically, it's not our job to change the heart. It's our job. We're just supposed to plant the seed. We're just supposed to share what we are learning, to share what we know, and God uses it, and then He uses it for His glory, and that's all He's calling us to do. And I just want to encourage you guys to please, like, say something, and I don't know, like, there's so many ways to evangelize. I think I want to make a separate video about evangelizing, because I have so many ideas when it comes to evangelizing, like so many like ideas, and they're simple. They're very, very simple. Like, for example, so stickers, like you can get, like, go on those like printing companies. You can print something. It's just something that says Jesus love you. Those wrapped up like this one, something like this. So it comes in a roll, right? So here's what you can do. You can give it to people and have them. You can put one in your car first of all, and that little act, that little poster, God can use it in so many ways to save someone. So many ways. So that's one way. You can pass it around, to your neighbors. You can even put it, like, if you can legally, put it like someone in the street where it's visible in the public. Like, there's so many ways to evangelize. You don't necessarily have to, go on the street and talk to people. There's nothing wrong with it. Actually, those are them. I respect those men and women that are so fearless and go on the street and evangelize. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm trying to say, if you're not comfortable with that, there's so many ways. I mean, I think almost everyone has a platform. Yeah, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat. Guys, like, God is gonna ask you, like, I gave you a job. All you had to do was to evangelize. Well, one of the things you had to do was to evangelize. What did you do? You had all those platforms. What did you do? Are you really gonna say that, like, God, I didn't, I was scared, I couldn't? You won't have no excuse. And all we have to do is just say something about God. Say something about God, and God is going to use it to plant the seed into that person's heart. It's going to use it to save someone. God has so many ways of helping, of winning souls. But also, we have to play our part. We have to do our part. He wants us to do our part as well. And He shouldn't have all that burden. He shouldn't. He already went through that on the cross. He went through all that burden on the cross. And He says in His word, He has given us power to trample on the lion and the serpent and the cobra. We have that in us. We have the anointing. We have the power, right? And let's do something. Like, there's so many people, going to hell. And also the disappointing things that, like, churches they're not really teaching the real stuff. The stuff that will get you saved. Like holiness, like righteousness, like all those things about vanity, like, is a thing. God wants us to be pure. He wants us to be pure-hearted on the inside and on the outside. I don't know, but yeah. So this is my testimony. Like I said, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I appreciate it. For anyone who has stood around and watched the whole thing. I appreciate it. And for anyone, maybe you just came across this video and you um, you don't know God, and you have not given your life to Christ. It's very simple. I'm not gonna give you like a salvation prayer. um, you just need to speak to God in your heart and just say, just say to God that, like, Father, like, because he's your father, he's the creator, he's the, omnipotent, omnipresent, he's the almighty, he's the creator of everything in the universe. So you just say, Father, Heavenly Father, I don't know you, I would like to know you. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that he was, he died and he was raised on the third day, and that he was crucified for my sins. And I want you to come into my heart. I want your spirit to take over my life, and I want you to lead me. I want you to lead me in your ways. I want you to, to show me how to live in a way that will lead me to the path of heaven. And I don't want to be controlled by the devil. I don't want to, I want to serve you. I want to live for you. I want to do the things that are pleasing to you. Just say something like that, and God will act. He will act. Yeah, that's how God works. And sometimes God, I feel like God works on you even before you even get there. So don't, it's not like sometimes it's immediate for some people. Sometimes, he takes his time with different people. In my own life, like, he took 33 years. And whenever I'm like, God, like, all that time, if I had died, where would I have been? In hell? Like, no, like, it should have done sooner, but his timing is perfect, and I'm glad and I'm grateful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you thank you so much for everything. Yeah, continue to share, because guys, like, we're here to make disciple, right? So because the things like what you guys are doing is like actually amazing. So whenever you come to the platform and you ask for the link, right? You're asking for the link to educate yourself, But what I know that you guys are doing is that you're also sharing with your family members. You're sharing with your coworkers. You're sharing with your, the people in your life, and you're evangelizing. You are spreading the word, and this is how God is working. God is sending me to all. Those are not my channels. Those are channels of people, of Christian brothers and sisters all over the YouTube. I'll go on there. I'm listening. It edifies me, and I'm able to, do the edit, post it, and it is edifying most of you guys. And and you guys are able to also like listen to that stuff, and also I'm sure you guys are sharing and talking to your family about it. And I believe this is how it's supposed to be. Not necessarily the virtual way, but we're supposed to be evangelizing, that way. So continue to open those links and watch them. And I've noticed a lot of people are not opening their messages. Please open. And I know everything is spiritual, so there's probably like some demons that are working in your mind, like, and kind of giving you like making you forget to even look at it or open it, but just like, stay awake and open those links, watch them. You'll be blessed by them, and God will use it to bless them. And also, it's not for you to keep, but also to share, right? And this is what this whole thing is about. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. And once again, Christ Family Podcast, so that's the name of the channel. Down the road, I think I'm going to start hosting interviews of people who, just people who have given their life to Christ, testimonies. So it's gonna happen soon. I'm so busy, so I need time. So I'm praying for Father to bless me so that I can invest more time into, just like doing this maybe even full time. I have bills to pay, so like I have to work, and But anyway, yeah. So this is it. So thank you so much.